Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is another podcast, but this is a special one. I'm not doing this on my own, as opposed to last week. I have a special guest. So please, everyone, welcome my good friend and longtime colleague, Slava Kabakov.
Hey, I'm Regev's good friend and a long-time colleague. I'm so excited to be here. I know this guy for about a year and a half, and I never visited his house, partly because I was afraid, but now that I quit my job about 3 weeks ago, I decided to come here for the first time, and this is like Geek, this place is... I told him he should charge people for visiting this place. It's like a museum.
That was his idea. So, a little bit of background. Me and Slava worked for about a year or so in the same place at Intel. And Slava is actually the one that shot, directed, and edited the video of myself as Superman running through the offices and punching people and saving people. And Slava's been a great influence on my life, a positive one.
Yeah, we were super productive at work when you have a long break, especially at night. You're just trying to find a way to keep yourself busy, and filming Regev, like, what else you can possibly do better than this?
And by the way, this whole setup with the hookah, that was his idea. I was just sitting in the corner for a few weeks, begging for someone to use it, and, he just offered this good idea that you do kind of like a Netflix and chill, but over here, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it sounded like a Regev show.
Yeah.
You will be expecting
Slava and chill.
more guests, I hope.
I wish. I'm trying to get some more people to stop by, but a podcast like this, it's a massive scheduling effort. Slava just happened to be in the neighborhood, in the city, this particular day, so we figured it would be a good idea to just stop and chill.
Yeah, we did a short pod that's going to be uploaded too, so be sure to check it out. Again, when I entered this house, like, the first thing was in my mind, I got to pull down all those crazy stuff like Chewbacca's mask and Captain America's shield,
Everything. We tried on everything until
Absolutely everything.
we threw everything against the wall and saw what stick, what
Yeah.
stuck.
Too bad I don't have enough hands to hold all these geeks at once.
Yeah, you need to be Spider-Man for that. With the 6 hands from issue 100.
Yeah, the only thing I can relate to Spider-Man is that they got sticky hands sometimes, but that's it.
Okay, so speaking of
That's
Spider-Man...
turned to be PGI-18 the video.
What?
Never.
Okay, so speaking of Spider-Man, we just decided to spontaneously do this podcast at just smoke, as you may have guessed. This is once again the Geek podcast, and similar to last week, we're going to be talking about some things. And since you guys probably, I hope, already know me, let's just start to get to know Slava a little bit. So Slava, what makes you a geek? What is your geek thing?
What makes me a geek? Wow, I don't know. I mean,
Besides the glasses.
besides the glasses. What about now? What do you say now? Wait, if you put down your glasses, we won't be geeks anymore. I don't know.
I don't know. You probably won't be able to recognize me like this.
Like,
I probably won't be able to see you either.
Like Steven and Stefan from what's the name of the show?
Steven and Stefan, who?
אריזה משפחתית? לא מכיר. Guess I'm too old for this.
Guess so, yeah.
What makes me...
I was actually going for Clark Kent and Superman, but never mind.
Sure. What makes me a geek? I don't know really, like, since very young age I like to play MMORPG.
What do you like?
Well,
Anything at all. You mentioned Arrow a few minutes ago. Hold on. I still have this, by the way. The poster that my mom brought me from Canada. This thing. This is the Stephen I actually know. Stephen Amell. Well, when I say no, you get my meaning.
Well, Yeah, I just saw the Arrow poster and it's really cool. I'm actually redecorating my room in the past week, and I'm looking for some posters I can add. Started watching Arrow a few years ago, I think, when it came out after the first season, and then I stopped, I think, at the third one. I don't remember why. And
Probably because it wasn't that good, let's be honest.
probably. And
To say nothing of the fourth one. Ugh.
and now that I'm doing absolutely nothing at home, I'm catching up on some old series, and yeah, I'm looking forward to catch up on Arrow as well.
And that's exactly a very good time for that, because all these series is the Arrow, the Flash, Supergirl, Legend of Tomorrow, they all just got renewed for another season, and they started broadcasting new episodes this week or maybe last week. So I've already watched episode 1 of The Flash and episode 1 of Supergirl, and literally seconds before you came here, I just finished watching episode 1 of season 2 of Black Lightning.
Black Lightning, well, I have no idea what's Black Lightning.
Black Lightning is also a DC superhero show. It's not really connected to Arrow and The Flash that much, but supposedly it is. It's got the same producers and showrunners. They claim it is, but it technically isn't. It's hard to
It's
explain.
based also on the comic or something?
Yeah, it's based on a long-running DC comic series about a black school principal who is also a middle-aged superhero in his 40s, and his daughters also were born with superpowers, and yeah, he's fighting drug lords and drug traffickers.
So it's
He's
like the Black Incredibles? Or?
the Black
Yeah.
Credibles. Yeah, it's more like Black Arrow, but with lightning powers.
Black Arrow, okay.
Black Arrow with lightning powers. And yeah, he's looking for this albino dude, Tobias Whale, who killed
Tobias Whale?
Tobias Whale, yeah.
Okay.
You need to read the comics to know what I'm talking
The
about.
actual whale?
No, but if you read the comics, then
Okay.
he's very whale-ish. So, yeah, he killed his father. Now this guy's off to kill him, and apparently this Tobias guy is he doesn't age that much, and yeah, it's a very dark show. It's a very black-centric show. Very much explores what it's like to be a black superhero in today's modern era. Like very similar to
Or,
Luke Cage.
you know, speaking of black people and superheroes, did you hear that, I don't remember that guy's name, the name of the actor, but they're going to cast an Afro-American for the Superman movie?
Yeah, I
What-
heard
what do you
about
think
that.
about that?
I heard about that, and that was complete rubbish. By the way, the guy's name is Michael B. Jordan. He was in the Black Panther movie. He was the villain, Killmonger. He's a fantastic actor, by the way. I love the guy. He was in Chronicle, which is one of my favorite indie superhero movies. He was in the not-so-successful Fantastic Four reboot. He was in Fruitvale Station with the Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. He was also in the other Ryan Coogler movie, Creed, the spin-off of the Rocky movies. He's a great actor. He would make a fantastic Superman, but this whole story is just rubbish. I don't even know if I got a chance to talk about it, but this whole started when Henry Cavill, who plays the current Superman in the DC universe, he was sort of in negotiations to have a cameo in Shazam, and something about pay, or maybe he wanted to be more than just a cameo. I don't remember the specifics of the story, but he really didn't want to be relegated to just a side character because he's Superman, right? So apparently him and DC are in sort of negotiations to kind of leave him behind. He's going to be okay. He already booked a deal with Netflix. He's going to be the main character in the Netflix The Witcher series. Yeah,
Which is, by the way, one of my favorite games, if not the most. Witcher 3, well done. Probably the best 200 hours I spent playing a video game.
200 hours.
200 hours.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's in the running to play the next James Bond. Yeah, he's going to be fine financially, and Michael B. Jordan will be. I'm sure he's going to be amazing in the world of Superman. This is not really any shock to me. There have been black Supermen in the past. The Superman of Earth 2 has been black. There's an alternate universe of Earth 23 where Superman happens to be the President of the United States, which is kind of a play on Barack Obama. His name is Calvin Ellis, because Kal-El. And yeah, he's sort of like Oliver Queen in the current, spoiler alert, the current Arrow. He's or at least he was, the mayor during the day, and he was the Arrow during the night. That was pretty much the whole deal with this Calvin Ellis character. He was the President of the United States during the day and Superman during the night, or vice versa. I don't really remember, but his logo is actually more famous than the character itself. It's the Superman logo, but with the American flag all over it. So if you ever walk into a store and see a T-shirt that's got a Superman logo with the American flag inside it, now you know where it came from. My stepdad happens to have a shirt exactly like that and doesn't even know where it came from. But that's just it. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, on that topic, I was reading up comics, and the comments they made about that, because of the actual tracks now. Like, you saw the movie Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, what?
Okay, so they suggested why not Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Superman. A white person
why not?
dressed as a black person playing Superman.
That would be a good idea.
Like, actually, when I first saw the movie, I couldn't believe that was Robert Downey Jr. Seriously.
You know, most people who saw that movie didn't believe that the bald guy, Les Grossman, was actually Tom Cruise. People in the theater just lost their minds.
Yeah, in the credits section,
Yeah.
when they say it was Tom Cruise, I was like, what the hell? I have to check it out.
A ton of makeup and prosthetics.
Yeah, exactly.
So, staying on the topic of superheroes, another thing that happened this week. Why smoke? Did you get a chance to watch the Iron Fist series on Netflix?
Iron Fist?
Iron Fist.
No, not yet.
It was just recently announced this week that the show's been cancelled from at least from Netflix. It's been removed from Netflix, and there are several possibilities that could. What was I saying? There are several reasons for that. The first reason is that Disney could possibly start to take their shows off of Netflix and transfer them to their own streaming service that they're planning to launch late next year. The other possibility is they're going to also cancel the Luke Cage series and combine the two and create two new series of Luke Cage and Iron Fist, Heroes for Hire, as well as Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, the Daughters of the Dragon, which is something that I'm very much looking forward to. I really hope they would go that route. And it's something that the fans have been saying for years, ever since the first season of Iron Fist. And also the third reason that could have amounted to that cancellation is that, well, the show didn't really get that many views. Well, allegedly, because Netflix notoriously doesn't share their viewing figures with anyone else. They keep it for themselves. So no one really knows how many people watched Iron Fist at all, if anyone has even watched it, besides me. But yeah, that is a possibility. Did you watch any of the Marvel Netflix shows? The Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Punisher, Defenders?
No, not the new ones. When I was working, I literally had no time, or I was too lazy to catch up on any. On any.
The number one enemy of success is laziness, by the way.
But no, the stuff I recently watched was The Walking Dead. I caught up on that. I don't know if you watched that.
I haven't really caught up at all.
Yeah, I was watching The Walking Dead for I think 6 years. So like again, like Arrow, I was watching till I think season 3, and when season 4 came out, I'm like, okay, they did something I didn't like. I didn't like all the idea. I stopped for like 2 years, I think. Then when you start watching some kind of series, you have to know how it will end, especially with all the zombie apocalypse. So
Apocalypse.
yeah, so it's kind of interesting how they, I don't know, if they figure something out or I don't know. So I started watching it again, watched it again like 2 seasons, then quit it again for another 2 years, I think. And just last month I started watching again the 8th season. By the way, the 7th and 8th season with Negan, it's very good.
Negan!
And, yeah. I think I'm going for Negan for Halloween actually. Not Halloween, but Purim.
Purim, that's the
more
Jewish Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the 9th season came out.
It's got a 9th season?
Yeah, it's got a 9th season. I think it's the last one, I'm not sure. And yeah, I think only the first episode came out. Not sure, I haven't watched it yet.
Because the thing is, one of the main showrunners of the Walking Dead is also the guy that created the comics that The Walking Dead is based on. And I believe he said like 2 years ago, I think, he said that they don't really have an end game for the show. He says, and he specifically brought up the comic book run, he says, well, comics are endless. I mean, Superman's been in publication for 80 years now, and, you know, The Walking Dead comics is reaching its, well, back then it was 150, but I believe now it's a little closer to 200 issues. So, yeah, you can take that concept and stretch out forever. And here's the thing you need to understand is TV shows are not comic books. Comic books can stretch on for as many years as you like. TV shows need to have some sort of end game, because no show, unless it's obviously Doctor Who, no show can last forever. It doesn't work like that. Especially not a show that's mainly centered around a zombie apocalypse that decimated millions, if not billions, of the planet. And
I
only
think The Day of Our Lives and General Hospital and all those 10,
Yeah,
20,000 episodes of the...
Yeah, but those are soap operas. They can last for as long as they wish. I think there's another soap opera, a British one called The Archers. It's been on the air for like 60 years, from almost the dawn of television.
Wow.
But, you know, this is a drama, a comic book based zombie apocalypse survival series. The main premise of the show...
Archer is a zombie survival series?
No, I'm talking about The Walking Dead.
Okay.
The Walking Dead is a show that, right at the beginning, the premise of the show, a large majority of the planet's population have either died or turned into zombies, and there's only a small, very sections of people that have survived this event. Sooner or later, they're either going to be killed off or they're going to become zombies themselves. There's really a limit to how much you can stretch a premise like that, don't you think? Would you even want them to keep going forever?
Hell no. I think it will take me like 20 years to catching up if they going to do, I don't know, more than 10, 12, I don't know how many seasons.
I don't know about you, but Doctor Who has like 37 seasons, and I already watched every single episode twice. So,
wait, how much episodes there are in the season?
And the Doctor Who
yeah.
in a season, it kind of changes from showrunner to showrunner. But currently, this new season that just started, it's got 10 episodes a season, and every episode is about 50 minutes.
Wow.
So, speaking of which, this is my trusty sonic screwdriver. Do you know even what this is?
As someone who doesn't watch Doctor Who, I have no idea what this is.
Well, this is a sonic screwdriver. It's basically a multitasking, plot-solving, do-everything device. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife that really can do anything at a literal push of a button. Now, mine doesn't work because, as you can see, it's a little wrecked. I took it with me to the army because I was a mechanic in the army. And yeah, this thing kind of functions as an actual screwdriver, as you can see. So I used it on a multitude of things. It really did help me, as much as you would probably laugh at that. But yeah, it's been through hell, and by hell I mean a war.
Wow.
I actually lost it at one point, and then I found it at the middle of what was the name of that? Sukeitan.
What was the name of the operation?
Yeah.
I don't know, Aitan's Cliff.
Mighty Mountain, I don't know. I kind of found it during that war in my in the toolbox of one of my commanders, and I was like, "What the hell? How did this get here?"
Maybe your commander's Doctor Who, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But by the time I found it, it was already a wreck, and there was this little mini contraption here that held these things together with a magnet. It was also connected to a voice box and had a little mini lamp that turned a light over here, but gone now. But I'm still using it for whenever I need to do some Doctor Who videos.
But I wanted to ask, Regev's room is, well, we have a special room for all his Legos and props and action figures and stuff. And that room is just wow, you have to be there. You see it sometimes in the end of all the videos when it says like and comment and share and subscribe. But I wanted to ask, what was, I don't know, the first item or Lego piece that you bought, that you owned, like from where it all started?
I can actually show it to you. The thing is, I think we need to put another one over here. So it's got some juice in it. Just keep talking about yourself. I'm gonna just pick up a few things from that room, and I'll be with you shortly.
Okay. Well, let me just sit in the middle of the couch.
You really don't like that?
Because Regev space is very limited here, and I'm just going to sit here. Okay, I'm not really going to talk about myself, I'm just going to sit and chill. So we're just going to watch me chill. So this is how to be a Regev. Okay, brought the piece.
He says.
Looks like I'm the host at the moment.
Okay, so.
Okay, actually, no, the figure that's from Madagascar. That's right.
Yeah, that's Slava for you. He always does this sort of nonsense. He once saw me building a Lego ship from Star Wars, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's the ship from Star Trek. Yeah, that's the." You guys probably noticed my Marvel poster, not this one.
That was actually the helmet of Sauron, and if he will bring it here, I can even prove it.
I can actually do that as well.
You know the stuff. They got stuff everywhere, like Star Wars stuff. What is this? I don't even. That's Earth or I don't know. Okay, check this out.
Yeah.
This is the helmet of Sauron. Like, really, that's not a Star Trek or Star Wars thing. It's Lord of the Rings, man.
Yeah, so this is actually Kylo Ren's TIE silencer from The Last Jedi, and this is Kylo Ren. I don't know if you can see it, but he basically looked at it and said, "Oh yeah, so that's Jon Snow," because he's like that.
But I'm going to say John Cena.
No, you said it. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, let's put this thing over here. So, my oldest ever toy that I own, I don't really have it with me at the moment, but it's a toy that's been with me ever since I was a little toddler, before I could even walk, before I could even process thought. It's this little, about this big, it's a little plush doll of a mouse in a full-body pajama that my mom decided to call him Gizmo after the character from the Gremlins franchise. I didn't even know what a Gizmo was until I watched the movie much later in my when I grew up. I wasn't too old to see it. I was sort of in elementary school, I believe. But yeah, so now I know where the name Gizmo comes from, and this thing is currently the oldest toy that I have in my possession in this house that I currently live in. And it's Timon from my favorite movie of all time, The Lion King. And yeah, me and this Timon has been through a lot. As you can, I don't know if you can tell, but the color's way off because it's so old. It used to be a lot, had a lot of brighter tone. The straps on his back are basically almost gone. He used to have, there's a reason why there's a a white spot over here. It used to be connected with a little string to a ladybug that he kind of carries around with him. And yeah, I kind of lost it, as you can see. That's how old this thing is. The nose used to have some fur on it. Now it's all just got completely peeled off. And yeah. But the hair is still on, and the face is still okay. And if you kind of get a closer look at it, you'll notice that there's a ton of stitches. That's because it got ripped apart so many times, and I had to send it over to my grandmother to do some knitting work and stitched it back together. But yeah, that's Timon. So, as far as Lego goes, this is the first ever Lego set that I ever bought for myself. This is an N1, a Royal N1 Starfighter from The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It comes with a Naboo pilot and the actual planet of Naboo. Thing is, back then it was at a time where Lego used to make all these sort of mini builds of their ships with an exclusive minifigure and a planet that you can either make it stand on a flat surface or put a string through here and hang it over your head on the ceiling. And yeah, I was a soldier back then in the army, and I had very limited funds, so this was pretty much all I can afford. So I basically bought every single one of those buildable galaxies sets. That's the name of the toy line. I bought every single one of them. They're not very impressive, but that was everything I could have afforded at that time, until much later when I actually saved some money and I was able to buy some more stuff.
Yeah, but things changed a bit, and they increased the salary of the soldiers so they can buy even greater Legos.
Yeah, but that was after I finished my service. And yeah, thank you very much for rubbing it in. Anyway, so yeah, this is the first ever Lego set that I ever bought. Obviously, my collection has grown exponentially ever since, but yeah, this is where it all started, guys. The first brick. So.
Oh, that's interesting. You can buy this all on eBay, signed, and special notes from Regev.
Yeah, don't
be worth millions one day. Well, this podcast is about half an hour, a bit more than half an hour. They want to continue. I don't think the viewers like to watch long videos.
Yeah. I don't know. Podcasts are usually about an hour long, and the last one I made was a little over an hour long. So, anything else you want to talk about? Let's see. We covered the Doctor Who. By the way, Doctor Who just recently started its brand new season, and it's pretty much a fresh start. They started with a completely new actress as the Doctor. By the way, the Doctor, they changed the actor of the Doctor.
Wait, I heard every season they change the actor or something?
Not every season, every couple of years.
Okay.
Just to keep it fresh. There's been 13 actors that have played.
From choice, or is this how the Doctor Who storyline
well,
goes?
That's the thing. Back in the 60s, when the show was created, it starred. Hold on. It starred a person by the name of William Hartnell. He was already when they started casting for the series. He was a very old person. Well, old by the 60s standards. He was about 55 years old, and that was the lead actor of a show that with a bit of action.
Wait, so the first Doctor Who was about 60 years old?
look, 55.
55.
Almost 60. So, and he was a little bit sick during his later seasons. He was forgetting his lines constantly. He always needed help remembering what he's supposed to say. And you can actually tell if you watch the old Doctor Who episodes in black and white. He was constantly tripping over his words all the time. He was just saying, I think they may have been anti-radiation drugs, stuff like that. I'm sorry, your ex-minilisi, stuff like that. One of his most famous slip-ups was the fornicator, the phone locator. It was literally in the episode. They didn't cut it out. So, yeah, he was having constant problems remembering the script. So eventually he kind of had to be recast, and they brought another actor, a younger actor, with more energy and dynamics, and yeah, he kind of took over the role for him, and they pretty much glossed over it at first. Then they made it a part of their story that his species, Time Lords, whenever they die, they regenerate and they become a completely different person with a completely different personality. So that's how they were able to keep changing the actor every few years. There have been 13 actors that have played the Doctor so far, and this new one, the 14th, is actually the first woman that have played the Doctor, because the Doctor's always been a male character right from the get-go. But you know, as time moves on and things change, you gotta get with the times, you know. There have been a female captain on Star Trek. Why can't there be a female lead actress on a show that's infinitely much better, in my opinion?
Yeah, times do change. Who knows? Maybe the next Doctor will be Orthodox and Jewish or something.
Maybe. Who knows? As long as it's British.
It's Rabbi Who.
Yeah. So yeah, this new one is with a completely new actress in the role, completely new companions, because the Doctor always travels with a group of people. Sometimes it's some people from history, sometimes it's people from the present day, sometimes it's aliens, sometimes it's robots, sometimes there's a whole entourage of people, and sometimes, in recent years, it's an emotionally charged, very hot young woman. But in this new iteration of the series, it's a group of people who kind of know each other. There's this African-British person called Brian, his step grandfather Graham, and the guy's little friend from school who is now a police officer, Jasmine. So and they kind of accidentally got whisked away with the Doctor, and now they're just traveling across time and space together, because the show travels through every planet in the universe and every time period, every point in history of every planet they land on. It's a very dynamic series, and it can literally go anywhere and everywhere. So a whole new, as I mentioned, Doctor, a whole new set of companions, a brand new showrunner, a brand new composer. Everything is completely new cameras even. So yeah, if you watch the show from this new series 11, you basically don't have to have watched every other season that came before it, unless you.
There is almost no connection between the previous season.
Almost nothing. Like they completely changed the look of the TARDIS. The TARDIS, that's the name of the ship that the Doctor travels in. It's that thing on my shelf over there. It's a police box. They change. Also, every Doctor has his own customization of their personal.
It's not a telephone book.
Yeah, it's a ship that because the show was started in the 60s and police boxes like that were literally everywhere back then. They wrote it into the story that the ship can disguise itself wherever it lands as something appropriate of that time and place. And on the first episode, the circuit that does that got stuck, and so it's stuck looking like that for the show's 50 plus years of broadcast. So yeah, everywhere it looks like this instead of just disguising itself as I don't know, a pillar or whatever. So yeah.
By the way, speaking of doctors, if I'm not mistaken, your favorite character in all the Marvel universe is Doctor Strange.
My favorite character.
Am I right?
My favorite character, surprise, surprise, is actually Wolverine. But,
Wolverine, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Doctor Strange is up there. Whoops. And I guess we need a new one. So.
I think we can stop.
No. We can just keep on going. I'll just ask you a few questions from afar, and I'll just light up a new one. So, speaking of which, why don't you tell the people who is your favorite, not just in the Marvel context, but who's your favorite fictional character, the one you gravitate the most to?
Well, okay, I would probably say Spider-Man. Actually, the first Marvel movie I think I ever saw was Spider-Man, the first one back in 2001, 2000, I don't know.
2002 it came out.
2002?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I don't remember what I was, I think 11, 12 years old back then, and I just love Tobey Maguire so much, and after Spider-Man 3, when they cast it, what was his name of the new old Spider-Man after Tobey Maguire?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
The new one or the one after?
No, the previous one.
Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man.
No, yeah, that's right. Andrew Garfield. I was so disappointed. Like, where's my Tobey Maguire? That's the person I grew up on, and yeah, basically, and even before the movie, I watched the animated series of Spider-Man, the one that started in the 90s, 96,
94 to 98.
Yeah, that's right. Back on the Israel channel, I would say that name. So the kids channel. So yeah, that
Channel
was
6.
one of my favorite shows. Yeah, that's right, of Channel 6, kids channel. So I'm sticking with Spider-Man.
By the way, a little known fact, the new Spider-Man, Tom Holland, the new one from the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, he actually went on record at one point. He said he wanted Tobey Maguire to play Uncle Ben in this new incarnation of Spider-Man.
But then he will have to die. I don't want Tobey to die.
Yeah, I don't think he had that in mind when he said it, but...
Yeah, maybe that was a cheap shot. He wants Tobey to die.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, could have been a nice bit of connectivity, because the Superman movies do that all the time. Like, I don't know if you know, but the first actor who ever put on the Superman suit was Kirk Allen, and he was in the first Christopher Reeve movie as Lois Lane's father, in a little blink and you miss it cameo on a train. Yeah, the Superman movies do it all the time. Like the woman who played Supergirl in the 1980s movie, she currently plays Supergirl's mom in the Supergirl TV show. Yeah, she also played Clark Kent's, Kal-El's mother on Superman, the Smallville show, and Annette O'Toole, who played Lana Lang in Superman 3, she played Clark Kent's mother on Smallville. They always do that. Even just recently, they cast the woman who played Lois Lane on Smallville. She was Supergirl's alien mom on Supergirl, and yeah. Dean Cain, who also played Superman in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, he played Supergirl's human father. So, yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time, even with non-Superman actors, like the Martian Manhunter on Supergirl. Last season, his father was played by Carl Lumley, who voiced the Martian Manhunter on the Justice League animated series and the Injustice video games and all that.
See that, guys? House of Regev, not only you are having fun, but you are also getting educated.
Yeah, that's why it's called 50 Shades of Geek, because you learn everything.
Exactly.
So, Spider-Man. That's actually kind of a bit of a jab, because you probably don't know this, but the first superhero movie I ever saw, in the theaters at least, I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but it was Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3.
with Peter Parker emo dancing in the street and singing on a piano, and just get that away from me. So yeah, that was an experience. I was 10 when I saw it, and it kind of wrecked my vision of Spider-Man, and I wished never to see that movie again. Unfortunately, I kind of did watch that movie again for completely different reasons, but yeah, Spider-Man 3, that was my first superhero movie. Wow.
Well, your favorite superhero is Superman, right?
My favorite superhero is actually Wolverine.
Oh yeah, that's right, you said it.
My favorite Marvel character?
Wolverine. You know, okay, guys, I don't know if you know it or not, but back then when I was working, Regev was constantly bringing to work all this freaky stuff he buys over
The props.
Yeah, the props like Thor's hammer and the
lightsaber.
Shield. Yeah, that's right, the lightsaber.
The Aquaman's Quindint, whatever that is.
Quindint. Yeah, exactly. So you know the one thing you haven't bought and I thought about was the Wolverine's.
I cannot confirm more than that I have planned to bring it, but now that Slava left the workplace, I don't really see much of a reason to bring it because, yeah. And funny thing is, the first time actually, my mom got me this Chewbacca mask. I took it to work, and I basically showed up to the cubicle like this, wearing the mask. I walked up to the people there, and I just went. And the thing is, some people saw it and laughed, and some guy who was on the computer was sitting with his back to me, so he didn't see me. He heard this, and he immediately, without even thinking, he just said, "Oh, Regev is here." So yeah.
What was it, by the way?
Roy Bode.
Ah, right.
So yeah. And
Hey, Roy Bode, if you're watching this, you might be famous.
you might be,
Might.
but no. So we talked about your favorite Marvel character. What's your favorite DC character? If you even have one.
Character, well, I don't know. I would like Batman because I do like the anti-hero type. You know, all the darkness, all the badass guys. Shit, I sound so gay at the moment, but yeah, I like those kind of the anti-hero type, you know.
You know, my mom always just asks me, why does everyone love Batman so much? She really doesn't get it. She says she thinks he's nothing but a whiny brat who's whining about the death of his parents. You really kind of have to look at it from a different angle to see the deep level of storytelling of that character. The fact that he dresses up as a bat, which, by the way, bats is the thing that scares Batman the most, ironically. And he's taking his own fears and he's channeling it to make other people afraid. Because the thing is, someone like Superman, which I love, by the way. I'm a fan of Superman, but he shows up, he beats a couple of street thugs, and he says, I hope you've learned your lesson not to do it again. And he just flies off. Batman, on the other hand, he shows up at dark alleys, dressed up as a bat. He beats the snot out of people. He just hospitalizes people, making sure that they know they won't do that again. Because if they ever go down that path again, he's coming after them. They got lucky this time. He was gonna break some more bones if they don't reform. So that's always been the appeal of Batman, that he doesn't play by the rules except his own, and yeah, Batman doesn't take shit from anybody. In fact, I even saw a sticker once that said, "Fuck you, I'm Batman," and another one. There's a meme that said, with the Batman smiling, that says, "Batman approves this shit."
Actually, I saw a nice picture, I think yesterday or something. Like why Batman always come out at the night hours, because if he would come out at the day hours, he would just get all the how do you say it, all the areas that his mask doesn't cover. He would just burn them in the sun. So when he takes out the mask, you just saw the 10 lines, the 10 lines of the open areas.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a very good theory. You know, I actually saw a T-shirt, or maybe it was a meme. I can't even remember. Because, you know, in the comics, it's a lot easier to draw characters with white, blank eyes. That's, by the way, how people in comics don't recognize people wearing the masks because they can't see the eyes because they're all white. And on the animated TV shows, you see characters with, like, their cowls backwards, like hoodies. You see the white eyes, and you see the normal eyes, and then when they put the cowl on, the eyes suddenly become white and blank. So I saw this meme of just Batman taking off the cowl. His eyes are completely white. Then he takes a few contact lenses and puts his eyes where they're supposed to be. So I kind of thought that was funny. So, so your favorite character of all time is Spider-Man?
He's yeah, basically it's Spider-Man. Well, for the
not just in comics, by the way. We're talking about in
all time.
all time, like in fiction. It could be even non-fictional characters. What's the character that you would live and die for?
Well, okay. So I told Regev before the podcast. I asked him about the Arrow poster if he has a Tomb Raider poster. So one of my, I kind of don't know if she's my favorite character, but she's definitely one of them because I can't decide what I like the most. But Lara Croft, especially in the new games that came out, they did the remakes. Yeah, they did a remakes of Tomb Raider since 2013, and the games are really amazing. A new game came out, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I saw that
for the PS and PC. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm definitely going to finish it. And since the first remake, I was so fascinated by the game. I really got into it. And Lara Croft, I just got related to her. She's hot, by the way. That's
you also lost your father at a young age?
No, sort of. But yeah, so let's try to Regev if he has a poster of Lara Croft because yeah, that's one of my favorite characters. Along with Geralt of Rivia. Also my favorite character is from actually the games that I play.
So you're a gamer?
Yeah, sort of. No,
Speaking of which, did you get a chance to play the new Spider-Man PS4 game?
I'm actually waiting. I'm checking every day the PlayStation Store for discounts and maybe one day when it's going to be on sale or something. Yeah, I might buy.
I actually finished it a couple weeks ago, and I was going to do a review on it, but actually I finished it. It took me too long to finish it because, if you guys may remember, there was a brief period during the holidays where I was at my mom's, so I didn't get a chance to play it. And yeah, I kind of finished it a little too late after everyone already had their reviews, and yeah, it was kind of irrelevant by that time. So I thought I'd just say a few quick words on this podcast. Maybe I liked it a lot. It was probably the best Spider-Man experience ever. And not that I played many Spider-Man games. That's one of the areas where I've been a little weak at in regards to Spider-Man. I've read a lot of the comics. I've watched every single animated series that ever came out, minus the new one, the Spider-Man from 2017. I watched the 90s as a kid, and I watched it over and over several times as I grew up. I even watched the 60s ridiculous cartoon. I've watched the 80s version. I've watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I've watched The Spectacular Spider-Man. I watched Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm still kind of wondering, should I even watch the live-action TV series or the Japanese Spider-Man?
The Japanese Spider-Man?
Yeah, there's a Japanese Spider-Man.
That's interesting.
That Spider-Man basically, he's a motorcycle stuntman.
Okay.
He's not even named Peter Parker. He's got this Japanese-ish name, and he's got this giant Power Rangers mech that he uses to fight monsters. It's really crazy. I didn't really think I'd ever get a chance to...
There is a series about it, a comic about it?
No, a TV series.
Is it Japanese?
A Japanese TV series, yeah.
Okay, I have to check this out.
It's called Spider-Man! No, I'm just kidding. Just seriously, look it up. There's a Japanese live-action sort of Spider-Man Power Rangers mishmash.
Wow, okay. Well, are there any other Japanese remakes except Spider-Man that I might not know?
there was a TV series, an animated one, an anime of Marvel characters. It's called Marvel Anime. I didn't watch it because I'm not really much of an anime fan, but if you're an anime fan, you should probably give it a chance. There's several characters that have been brought into anime. I think Spider-Man, Wolverine, Blade, and a few others. There's also been this from what I've seen, it was very unsuccessful anime series called Marvel Disc Wars: The Avengers, where it's kind of like the Avengers turned into Pokemon for some reason.
Okay.
They're not
Wow,
actually.
how can you not like the idea?
I mean,
seriously.
it didn't have
in America, like
No, I'm not
America.
I'm not saying it was like kind of like a mixture of. Also, Digimon was in there somewhere because these little kids with their wristwatches throwing discs at each other, and sort of the discs morphed into Avengers characters. Again, I didn't watch it. I only saw a few brief clips and images from it, but yeah, it looked very much like a crossover between the Avengers and Pokemon. Where it was like, Thor, I choose you, choose! And,
yeah, like for lightning attack.
Something like that. It was really weird. Maybe you should give it a chance and tell me if you like it, and maybe I could give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be checking this out. But I'm definitely checking out the Japanese Spider-Man first. Yeah, that's pretty intriguing.
By the way, the first time Spider-Man was ever on television, it was, or at least in live action at least, but it was by the way, this is at a time where people didn't really know what superheroes are supposed to be at all, so they always made these ridiculous things with them, like a Japanese Spider-Man, but it was sort of like a storytelling show where you see a comic book opening and someone narrating a story, and it was about Spider-Man. It was called Spidey Super Stories or something like that, and the narrator was a very young, before he got famous, Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
So just imagine that. You see a comic book opening and...
Okay, Morgan Freeman was always old, I think. He was born 6 years old.
Yeah, kind of like... He's God, basically. I mean, so how can he not be old? So just imagine you see a comic book being open and Spider-Man just sits on a sidewalk picking up a sandwich, and you hear the majestic voice of Morgan Freeman saying, "Oh, look at that! Spidey finally found what he was looking for." You see him picking up a sandwich, and there's a glove inside it, and he says, "A rubber glove sandwich." Seriously, look it up. I'm not even joking. That it was a thing. So yeah, we talked about Marvel Comics, we talked about Tomb Raider, the games you like to play. What's your opinion on Star Wars? Because I know you don't. I know you never watched Star Trek, and you probably shouldn't. But
yeah, I haven't watched Star Trek. Star Wars, I actually did watch, I think, the first 3 movies, and when I say the first 3 movies, I mean the 4, 5, and 6, not the one.
The original trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
From the 70s.
Well, I like the first movie, and again, it was a very long time ago, but I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I don't know, that was a nice watch for one time, twice. The original movie is good, but I don't know, I never liked the continuous, the movies.
So you won't be checking out the new live-action series that's coming next year?
Yeah, by the way, I didn't even watch the new Star Wars movies. The one that came out, I don't know when else came out?
2015, 16, 17.
Yeah, it was a big hype in 2015 or 2016 as well. Yeah, I haven't watched it. So, I don't know, I might check this out again. I heard they are pretty good. So yeah, maybe I'll change my opinion. But yeah, I did like the original movie, The New Hope.
Okay, so do you like these isolated stories, like Western type things?
Yeah, well actually, one of the series that I've been catching up with was Westworld. So if you don't know about the series, it's like a world of robots, like an amusement park.
Yeah, I've heard a few things.
Yeah, Western type amusement park. And yeah, I mean.
Did you know it was also based on a movie, by the way?
Yeah, I know, an old movie from the 60s or 70s.
70s, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, So Western.
I was actually going to take this in a completely different direction. There's a live-action Star Wars series about a lone gunman
Okay.
stranded somewhere in the middle of nowhere on some planet, and he has to fight his way to get back to the core world of the Star Wars galaxy. It's called The Mandalorian. It's based on this warrior race with this really cool, badass armor, and they're basically warriors from birth, and there's this whole deep mythology behind them in the Star Wars extended books and comics, and I'm thinking the show's going to be pretty good. It's going to be showrun by Jon Favreau, who directed the first Iron Man movie, the first and the second one, and he also directed the most recent The Jungle Book, the live-action version. He's also doing the same thing for The Lion King when it comes out, the live-action Lion King. Live-action CGI, yeah. I call it live-action. Some people are having problems calling it live-action, but yeah. He's doing that series, and Dave Filoni, who is the mastermind behind all the Star Wars animated stuff, like the Clone Wars and the Rebels, the upcoming, or I think I've already started, the Star Wars Resistance. Yeah, he basically created all that under the guidance of George Lucas. He was basically George Lucas's longtime protege, and now he's going to be directing the first 2 episodes of the season, which is going to be the first live-action thing he's ever going to be directing. So maybe in the future he could possibly direct a live-action Star Wars movie. Who knows?
Sure. By the way, I've been around the house and I saw all kind of props and also and stuff. And I want to ask, you don't watch Game of Thrones because what do you think about Game of Thrones?
Well, the thing is, I always had this weird mentality that I'm trying to get rid of, but I always have this weird feeling of if it's popular, I wouldn't like it. I don't know why I had that feeling. It's definitely a feeling that I'm trying to get rid of. I'm trying to catch up on as many things as I possibly could. But yeah, the thing is with Game of Thrones, it was when I first heard about it when I was in my later years in the army. It was just so big and so popular. Everyone was talking about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch that. I've got my Star Wars. By the way, fun fact. I didn't even watch Star Wars until I was a teenager. When I was younger, in elementary school, I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch that Star Wars stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to push that side of me away as I grow older. And when is the next and final season of Game of Thrones supposed to come out?
The 9th from the 8th? Wow, I don't even remember. I've been waiting for, I think, a year and a half. I don't even know.
Oh, wow.
No, I think we saw the 7th one. I think 8 seasons, the last one, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's the
Either way, I kind of decided that once I'm done with Season 2 of Star Trek Voyager, a show that I have no idea why I still continue to torment myself by watching it, but once I'm done with that season, I'm just going to put Star Trek on hold again and just binge watch all of Game of Thrones, maybe throw in a few seasons of Westworld, and maybe I'll connect with it, maybe I won't, who knows?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have that kind of problem. I know I myself, the TV show that everyone talks about at the moment is, what's its name? Casa de Papel.
Casa de Papel.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody over Facebook, at work, you have to watch it, and I'm like, it's mainstream. I don't know. I'm not going to watch it. I'm too hipster to watch mainstream things.
Yeah, something like that.
That's the problem.
I was exactly like that once. So
yeah, but I guess mainstream stuff are good for a reason. Yeah, like Game of Thrones.
There's a reason why it's mainstream.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Stranger Things. Did you watch Stranger Things?
Yeah, both seasons. Again, one of the series
That was actually a show that the hype actually convinced me to watch it, as opposed to something like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead or other stuff. So, yeah, I think we've uncovered a lot of truths about each other, stuff that we didn't even know about each other, and even though we've known each other for over a year and a half. But, hey, that's exactly the reason why I keep doing these podcasts, to unpack and unload so many things that I can't cover in a vlog that's 10-15 minutes long. So that's the reason why I'm doing these podcasts, and why I'm going to continue doing these for the foreseeable future. By the way, the first podcast is already on my channel. I've noticed it yesterday. It already has 7 views on it. 7 whole people.
And I'm not one of them. I'm sorry, so that's not including me.
So yeah, apparently 7 people watched it, and I figured it was. I hope they watched it all the way to the end. And apparently they thought it was deserving enough to give it a click. And that's exactly 7 people more than I thought would actually give a damn about it. So yeah, if I can get another 7 people to watch this vlog, this podcast, maybe 8.
You got very high expectations.
Yeah, I'm setting the bar high.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can get enough people to watch this, I'll continue to do this, and maybe I can bring in some more guest stars like Slava, or maybe people from my circles that Slava doesn't know. Maybe I can bring other people from work. Maybe I can bring some of my family members. Who knows? Maybe one day I can actually bring a few people that are actually famous to draw some attention to my channel a little bit more.
Okay, wait.
Hopefully.
Who do you think will accept that offer from the famous people you are aiming for?
Well, probably nobody. But
Well,
because
let's
who the hell am I? Because
Let's start with famous people in Israel, because that's a bit easier than bringing out someone from the US or any other country.
well, I have a friend, actually the same friend who gave me this hookah, who is a friend of a very famous YouTuber from Israel, Sarkalizo. And yeah, I'm gonna be at this friend's wedding when he actually gets married to his girlfriend next year. And I've been told that this Sarkalizo person is going to be in that wedding. Maybe I can do some negotiating that convince him to come on my show. Maybe draw some more attention to this place.
Sarkalizo, by the way, makes or made, I don't know, I haven't seen any new content from him, but he was making some viral videos of YouTube, Facebook. So yeah, he's kind of famous, and I think you should bring Omer Adam. I think that's going to boost your channel a lot.
Yeah, by the way, you guys probably don't know this. Maybe you did. I did make a video about this. Omer Adam and I used to be in the army together in basic training, boot camp. So maybe one day I can speak to some of Omer Adam's representatives. Maybe my name still holds some sway with that guy, and maybe I can bring Omer Adam on my show and talk about.
Yeah, Regev is. I bet Omer Adam remembers Regev because
I'm kind of hard to forget.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone at work telling it, like, even if you're first day at work and you will be working there for, I don't know, like 1 week, this person is going to remember Regev for the rest of his life. Because, wow, I think
some of my friends from school actually remember me. They see me walking by the street and go, "Oh yeah, there!" And like, "What are you exactly?" Yeah,
one of my first impressions of you, by the way, was I was still in other shift, in shift 4, and we came to exchange the shift. Okay, so there was Regev with his Xbox in the time, with sitting at the table, or Gangsta with his dark shade. In all these, there was a game
oh yeah,
Lego or something.
Lego Dimensions, yeah, the best game that's ever been cancelled for completely ridiculous reasons. Yeah,
and he had
you guys probably remember this thing.
He had a whole set of the game of Legos.
There's Gandalf.
Yeah, they covered his Lego set covered I don't know 1/4 of the table, and he was just sitting there, not giving a damn about any other people. He was just doing the things he liked, playing the games he liked.
Funny you should mention it. I actually played some of it yesterday. I mean, last night.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
that was my first impression of it. I was like coming into the wrestling room.
And you were like, "Who is this idiot?"
I was like, okay, okay. And yeah, like that's one of the people I'm going to miss at work, to be honest. So
I miss you already.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't, this kind of person you don't forget. So I hope.
I hope you don't forget.
Yeah, I hope Omer Adam will come here someday. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Omer Adam will open up. I don't know. Maybe he has Marvel.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe we can just talk about his music and what drew him to it. Because Geek isn't just the Marvels and the Star Wars stuff. Geek is all around us. It's everything you feel like, everything you're passionate about, everything that drives you, your favorite thing in the world. It's all around us. It surrounds us. It penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. No, that's Star Wars. Sorry, but yeah, you get the point. So, thank you very much, Slava.
Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And check out the other stuff in the channel.
hope you guys enjoy this. Goodbye.
You're about to see Regev.
Hello again, everybody. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel where I do all kinds of weird stuff like showcase all these things, you know, trailer reactions, movie reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. So, until next time, I'll see you guys next time.